Today I will tell you step by step what to do to survive the winter power outage, keeping your family warm and safe while others start to panic. Let's get started. So the electricity went out. Your first instinct might be to grab all the blankets in the house and settle on the couch. This is not wrong, but it is not a plan. A plan begins with understanding what you are actually dealing with. When the electricity goes out, you don't just confront the cold. You are battling time on multiple fronts. Your house is losing warmth through every window, every crack, every uninsulated wall. Your pipes are nearing freezing, your body burns calories to maintain its temperature, and if you make even one wrong move with the heating, you could get carbon monoxide poisoning before realizing there is a problem. I have been preparing since 2012, and one of the first lessons I learned is that survival does not depend on having the most expensive gear. This is about understanding the basics and making quick, rational decisions. Let's analyze your action plan, as the first hour after the power goes out determines everything. The first step is to stop the loss of heat. Right now, your house is losing warmth through every opening. We no longer try to heat the whole house. It's no longer relevant. Your new reality is one room, one small protected zone where you will concentrate all your resources and people. Find the smallest room in your house with the fewest windows. The bathroom will do, the bedroom, and if you only have a dressing room, that will work too. Small spaces retain heat, large spaces lose it. It's simple physics. The smaller the volume, the easier it is to maintain temperature with minimal heat sources. As soon as you choose your fortress, it needs to be sealed. Stuff towels under the door. Use tape and plastic wrap or even garbage bags for the windows. Every crack is a leak of heat. Every leak is a loss of degrees. You create what emergency preparedness specialists call a microenvironment, a warm bubble inside a cold house. In 2014, I tested this during a planned experiment with a power outage. I chose our smallest bedroom, sealed all the gaps, and hung a heavy blanket over the doorway. Even with the outdoor temperature below 20 degrees, this room remained almost 15 degrees warmer than the rest of the house, thanks to our body heat and a couple of candles. 15 degrees is the difference between discomfort and danger. The second step is to dress the body as if it were a matter of life and death, because it is. Your body emits about 100 watts of heat at rest. It's like a small light bulb, but you also lose heat through radiation, convection, and conduction every second. The goal is to keep that heat close to your body with layers, not one thick jacket. Layers, thin layers with air pockets between them, because air is a great insulator. Start with a base layer that wicks moisture away from the skin. This can be thermal underwear, a warm t-shirt, something synthetic or woolen. Never choose cotton. Cotton is a death sentence in the cold, as once it gets wet from sweat, it robs heat from your body. Then add a middle layer, like a fleece jacket, wool sweater, or hoodie, something that retains warm air. After that, put on an outer layer, like a jacket, or just wrap yourself in a blanket. And here is the most important part that many overlook. It's your head. 30% of your body's heat escapes through your head because your brain is a real calorie furnace, and the skull has no insulation. Wear a hat, beanie, hoodie, or a towel wrapped around your head. It doesn't matter how it looks. Wear gloves. Put on 2 pairs of socks. Wool is the gold standard. If you have no warm clothes left, be creative. Wrap yourself in towels. Use curtains. Get out old winter jackets from storage. You are creating a portable microclimate around your body. And here's a tip from a professional. Sit on something insulated. Cardboard, a yoga mat, a pile of folded blankets. Cold floors draw heat away from you through conduction. This concrete floor in the basement or tiled floor in the bathroom are true heat vampires. Avoid them. Now let's talk about heat sources. And here, people make fatal mistakes. Every winter, power outages turn into tragedies because someone decided to use a gas stove to heat their home, or started a generator in the garage, or lit a charcoal grill inside to warm up somehow. Don't do this. I cannot emphasize this enough. Gas appliances emit carbon monoxide. It is colorless, odorless, and can kill you while you are just sitting and thinking that you are a little tired. Carbon monoxide binds to your red blood cells 200 times more effectively than oxygen. This means that your blood carries poison instead of oxygen to the brain and heart. By the time you realize something is wrong, you will already be in a state where you cannot think clearly to save yourself. Every year, over 400 people die from accidental carbon monoxide poisoning in the United States. A large portion of these deaths occurs during winter power outages when desperate people make desperate decisions. So, what should one actually use for heating? The first option, and this is quite serious, is the warmth of bodies. Gather all your family members, including pets, in a locked room. Cover yourselves with blankets. Get into sleeping bags. A person emits about 100 watts of heat. 2 adults and 2 children in a small locked room generate 400 watts of heat, enough to prevent the temperature from dropping too sharply. The second option, if you are prepared in advance, is a heater that runs on propane or kerosene and is designed for indoor use. The key phrase is designed for indoor use. These heaters are designed with safety measures and proper combustion to minimize carbon monoxide emissions, but ventilation is still required. The window needs to be slightly opened about an inch. Turn on the heaters for a short time to warm up a bit, then turn them off. Never sleep with a working heater. Respect these devices, or they can cause harm. The third option, tried and tested over time, is hot water bottles. If you have a camping stove that can be safely used outdoors, boil water and pour it into sturdy bottles. These can be jeans, old drink bottles, anything that can withstand heat. Wrap them in towels to avoid burns and place them in a sleeping bag or under blankets. This way, you will create portable heat sources that will retain warmth for several hours. I used this method during hikes in sub-zero temperatures. It works. The fourth option is candles. A few candles in a small closed room can raise the temperature by a couple of degrees. It's a little, but in survival conditions, 2 degrees can decide whether you freeze all night or get some sleep. Use reliable candles in safe holders and never leave them unattended. A fire in the house during a power outage means the end. The science here is simple. Heat is the energy produced by your body, heaters, and candles. The goal is to keep this heat in a small space and not let it escape. Insulation, heat source, and enclosed space. Chas survival. You won't be warm and comfortable, but you won't die. And this is now the main thing. Now let's talk about water. Frozen pipes are a disaster that can be prevented. When water freezes, it expands by about 9%. This leads to the rupture of metal or plastic pipes. I saw flooded basements only because someone did not protect their pipes during the power outage. Water damage can cost tens of thousands of dollars. Therefore, as soon as the heat is turned off, open all the taps in the house and set a slow, constant flow of water. Not a stream, but a thin drip. Moving water freezes much slower than standing water. This does not provide a 100% guarantee, but gives you valuable time. If you have pipes in the basement, garage, or attic, insulate them. Use towels, old clothes, foam insulation, or even layers of newspaper wrapped in plastic. The main thing is to slow down the cold. Now about drinking water. Your water heater contains 40 to 60 gallons of clean drinking water. This is your reserve in case of an emergency. Most people are not even aware of this resource. To access the water, turn off the power or gas to the water heater if you can. Let it cool for a bit, then open the drain valve at the bottom, and there you have gallons of clean water. Also, be sure to store water separately. It is recommended to have at least 1 gallon per person per day. If you have no water supplies, as soon as the electricity is cut off, fill the bathtub, sinks, and all pots and buckets you have. The water pressure in the city plumbing may quickly drop during prolonged outages. If you need to melt snow for water, do it outside on a camping stove. Bring the snow inside only after it has melted and is in a sealed container. Melting snow indoors adds a lot of moisture to the air. This moisture makes the cold feel stronger and leads to condensation and mold. The scientific facts are simple. Water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Moving water and insulating pipes slow this process. And don't forget, your body needs water to generate its own heat. Dehydration literally makes you colder. You can't neglect hydration just because it's cold outside. Now let's move on to the strategy with food, because your refrigerator and freezer are starting to malfunction. They are not broken yet, but time is running out. A full freezer maintains its temperature for about 48 hours if the door is not opened. If it is half full, then perhaps around 24 hours. Your refrigerator is now just an advanced cooler, and you may have one day before the food starts to spoil. So prioritize. First, check the fridge. Leftovers, milk, anything that spoils quickly. Eat that first, then move to the freezer. Here's a clever trick. If the temperature outside is below 0, your backyard has become a real freezer. Move the frozen food into a cooler or a sturdy box outside. The main thing is to keep animals away from it. I did this during a 3-day power outage a few years ago, and it worked perfectly. Once you deal with perishable foods, move on to non-perishables. Canned goods, pasta, rice, peanut butter, protein bars. Everything that can be stored on a shelf and doesn't require special care. If cooking is necessary, do it outside. Use a camping stove with good ventilation. If you absolutely must cook indoors with a small camping stove, open several windows for cross-ventilation, but do not use a gas stove for prolonged cooking or heating the house. This can lead to carbon monoxide poisoning. The scientific basis is this. Your body is a furnace, and in the cold, it burns more calories to avoid freezing. Therefore, you need to eat more than usual. High-calorie and high-fat foods are your best friends. Nuts, peanut butter, chocolate, cheese, if you still have it. This is dense fuel for your inner engine. Carbohydrates provide quick energy, while fats ensure lasting warmth. Don't skip meals thinking you're saving food. You need those calories. Now let's talk about light, because darkness is more dangerous than you think. When the electricity goes out, you lose light. Wandering in the pitch darkness can lead to injuries like twisting an ankle or knocking over a candle, worsening the situation. So light up the space. Flashlights, headlamps, battery-operated lanterns, even glow sticks, everything will be useful. Save batteries by using candles when stationary, and leave the flashlights for moving. Here's another solution, though it's a bit extravagant. You can make an oil lamp from kitchen utensils. Find a small glass container or metal can. Fill it halfway with vegetable oil. Any kind will do. Now you need a wick. A strip of cotton fabric from an old t-shirt will work perfectly. Even a cotton string will do. Twist it tightly, dip it in oil, and leave about an inch above the surface. Light it. You now have a lamp that will burn for hours. This primitive technology has been used for thousands of years, and it works. Oil serves as fuel, and the wick lifts the oil to the flame through capillary action. Ensure that the lamp is stable and won't tip over. Your next priority should be communication, as isolation kills hope faster than the cold. Your phone is likely running out of battery. Cell towers can be turned off. The internet is already a distant memory. If you are prepared, you have a handheld emergency radio. Tune in to local stations for updates on power outages. Find out where heating points are and when electricity might be restored. Information is survival. If you are unprepared, you must conserve your phone's charge. Turn off Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and close all background applications. Switch the phone to airplane mode, except when you really need to make a call. Your car can charge your phone, but only run it for short periods and never in a closed garage. The carbon monoxide from a running car in an enclosed space will kill you faster than the cold. But the most important tool for communication you have is your legs. Check on your neighbors. Knock on doors, especially of elderly people, those who live alone, or people with disabilities. Share information. Share resources if you can. During a power outage, your community is your lifeline. I learned this from my own experience during the regional blackout a few years ago. My neighbor 2 houses down had a generator. Another neighbor had a wood stove. We pooled our resources and checked on the elderly people on our street. No one was hurt because we really communicated with each other. Survival is a team sport. Now let's talk about something most people never think about. Mental preparation, the 6th hour of the power outage. You feel cold, uncomfortable, and your mind starts to play tricks on you. You begin to think of the worst scenarios. What if the electricity never comes back? What if this lasts a week? Here's what I've learned. Stay busy. Give yourself tasks. Organize your supplies. Check your safe room. Play cards with family. Tell stories. Read books by candlelight. Boredom and anxiety are your enemies. Keep your mind occupied and lift your spirits. I remember in 2016 we had a power outage that lasted 4 days. On the second day, my children started to panic. So we turned it into an adventure. We set up a tent in the living room. We cooked simple meals together, played board games, told stories. It wasn't fun, but it wasn't scary either. We got through it together. To be honest, my children still remember that week as a great unifying event. Your attitude largely determines how you perceive such situations. The 8th step, which is critically important, is the ability to recognize when to leave home. If the temperature in your home drops below 10 degrees Celsius and you cannot safely heat it, it's time to consider other options. Go to a warming center. Visit a friend or family member who has electricity. If there are functioning hotels in your area, head there. Evacuation is normal, and there is nothing shameful about leaving home. Staying in a place where the temperature is 35 degrees out of stubbornness is life-threatening. You prove nothing. Your task is to protect yourself and your family, not to become a hero. There are obvious signs when one must leave the premises immediately. If someone starts showing symptoms of hypothermia, such as confusion, slurred speech, drowsiness, weak pulse, or shallow breathing, This is a serious signal. If you cannot maintain a safe temperature despite all efforts, if your safe heating options are exhausted, if someone needs electricity for medical equipment, know your limits and have a backup plan. Find out where the nearest heating points are before you need them. Let's talk about something many forget: medications. If you depend on medications that need to be refrigerated, like insulin, this can become a problem. Most of these medicines can be kept at room temperature for a day, at most 2. But always consult your pharmacist in advance. Know how much time you have. If the power outage lasts longer than this period, you need to get to a pharmacy or hospital. Think about this in advance. Preparing in advance is the 9th step to avoid panicking in an emergency. Everything I mentioned is a reaction to a disaster that has already occurred. But the real winners in such situations are those who prepared in advance, before the lights went out. Let's discuss what you need to have ready today, before the next storm hits. So, gather an emergency kit in one place. Flashlights with new batteries, battery-operated radio or hand crank radio, first aid kit, medicines for at least a week, water, 1 gallon per person per day, minimum for 3 days, non-perishable food for 3 days, manual can opener, matches or lighters in waterproof packaging, cash, as ATMs will not work, copies of important documents in a waterproof bag, blankets, and warm clothing, a whistle for signaling for help if needed. For heating, if possible, acquire a safe indoor gas heater with fuel reserves. Purchase a carbon monoxide detector with a battery backup. They exist. Buy sleeping bags designed for cold weather. Stock up on hand warmers that activate by friction. They are inexpensive and effective. Carefully insulate your home before winter arrives. Check the window seals. Seal the gaps. Add insulation in the attic if possible. The better your home retains heat during normal times, the slower it will lose heat during an outage. Know where the main water valve is and how to drain the pipes if necessary. Make sure you have the tools for basic winter maintenance. Know where your electrical panel is and how to safely turn off individual circuits. Write down a list of emergency contacts on paper, not just in your phone. Phone numbers of family, neighbors, your doctor, local emergency services, your utility company. When your phone dies, this paper list will be a true find. And one more thing. Practice. Conduct a voluntary power outage for 6 hours. Turn off the electricity at the panel. Check what works and what doesn't. Assess what you lack. Find out how your family copes with the situation. Such a rehearsal will give you more knowledge than any article or video. I conduct this check once a year, most often in the fall, before winter. This helps me keep my skills sharp and identify gaps. Step 10, and this is the final part, is recovery after power restoration. When the heating comes back on, the work isn't finished. Immediately check the pipes, look for leaks or damage. Check the boiler, make sure it works properly. Check the refrigerator and freezer. If the temperature of the food was above 40 degrees for more than 2 hours, throw it away. Yes, even if it looks normal. Food poisoning during a winter storm is definitely something you don't need. Allow your home to gradually warm up. Do not raise the thermostat to 80 degrees. Increase the temperature slowly to avoid shocking the system. Check the smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. Ensure they are functioning. Replace batteries if necessary. Immediately replenish supplies for emergencies. Replace everything you have used. Refill water, change batteries, fill gas cylinders. Do it now while you remember, not later when you forget. Have a discussion with the family. What worked? What didn't? What would you do differently next time? Write it down. Update your plan. This is not paranoia. These are lessons learned from experience. Every power outage teaches you something about your preparedness, your home, and your family. Use this knowledge. Step 11, which no one talks about, is dealing with the psychological consequences of several days without power in freezing weather. It is stressful. It leaves a mark. Show patience to yourself and your family. Discuss it. Process your feelings. Don't shut yourself off and pretend it didn't happen. Some, especially children, may feel anxious about the next storm. This is normal. Acknowledge it. Talk about it. Show them the measures you've taken. Show them the plan. Convince them that they are safe. You see, the energy grid is more vulnerable than most people think. Climate change is making winter storms more intense. Infrastructure is aging. Demand for electricity is rising. Power outages are not a fabrication of leaders. This is a real risk that is becoming more common every year. But here is what is important. With a good plan, essential supplies, and the knowledge you've gained, you can handle it. You will be able to keep your family safe, warm, and as comfortable as possible until the light returns. So, here's how to survive a winter power outage. Each of these steps you can take right now. You don't need a bunker. You don't need $10,000 for equipment. You need knowledge, a plan, and readiness to act quickly in case of a power outage. That's all. This is the difference between those who come out of the situation unscathed and those who do not. If you found this video helpful, please like it and comment on which step you are going to start from, or ask questions about the topics I discussed. Subscribe if you haven't already, as I publish practical content every week to prepare for various situations. And don't forget to share this video with those who need it, a neighbor, parents, or a friend living in an area prone to winter storms. This information could really save someone's life. Stay calm, confident, and prepared. See you in the next video.